Hello, and welcome back to Learn English by Stories. I am so happy you are here with me today. On this channel, we do something very special together. We learn English through real, beautiful stories from history. Every story gives you new English words. Every story stays in your heart. If this is your first time here, welcome to the family. Please subscribe now, because we post new English stories every single week, completely free. Now, before we begin, I want to ask you something. Have you ever heard of a warrior who defeated his enemies and then healed them? Have you ever heard of a king who slept in a tent because his soldiers had no beds? Have you ever heard of a conqueror who entered a great city and harmed no one? Today, you will meet that man. His name was Saladin. He lived more than 800 years ago. He was a soldier, a king, a leader, and above all, a man of extraordinary character. This is his story, and today you will learn it in simple, clear English. Sit back, relax, and let us begin. Our story begins in the year 1137 AD. The place is Tikrit, a small town near a great river called the Tigris. Today, Tikrit is in the country of Iraq. On a cold night, a baby boy is born. His father gives him a name, Yusuf. In Arabic, Yusuf means Joseph. It is the name of a great prophet, a man known for his patience and wisdom. His family name was Saladin. In Arabic, this means righteousness of the faith. Today, the whole world knows him by this name, Saladin. Saladin's father was a man named Yusuf ibn Ayyub. He was a soldier and a governor, a man who managed cities for powerful rulers. Saladin grew up watching his father work. He watched his father be fair. He watched his father be careful. He watched his father treat people, rich and poor, with respect. These early lessons stayed with Saladin for his whole life. Now let us learn our first vocabulary word of today. The word is governor. G-O-V-E-R-N-O-R. A governor is a person who rules or manages a region or city, often on behalf of a king. Saladin's father was a governor. He managed towns for powerful rulers. Later in life, Saladin himself would become much more than a governor. Saladin was a quiet child. He loved to read. He loved to study religion, poetry, and history. People around him noticed that he was different. He was serious. He was thoughtful. He was kind. His uncle, a great military commander named Shirkuh, saw something special in the People young around boy. him noticed that he was different. He was serious, he was thoughtful, he was kind. His uncle, a great military commander named Shirkuh, saw something special in the young boy. He said, "This child has a great future. Watch him carefully." And history proved him right. Vocabulary Review, Section 2. Governor, a person who rules or manages a region for a king. Righteousness, doing what is right and good, being morally correct. Thoughtful, thinking carefully before acting, considerate of others. Section 3. The young soldier, approximately 3 minutes. As Saladin grew older, he entered the world of soldiers and war. His uncle Shirkuh was a famous military commander. He taught Saladin the art of strategy. Let us learn this word. The word is strategy. S-T-R-A-T-E-G-Y. A strategy is a careful plan to achieve a goal. In war, strategy means thinking ahead, knowing where to move, when to fight, and when to wait. Saladin learned strategy quickly. He was intelligent. He was calm. He did not panic under pressure. These qualities made him an excellent soldier. But Saladin was not just a fighter. He was also deeply religious. He prayed every day. He read the Quran carefully. He believed that a true leader must have justice in his heart, not just power in his hands. Let us learn this word. The word is justice. J-U-S-T-I-C-E. Justice means fairness. It means treating every person correctly, not because they are powerful, but because it is right. Saladin carried the idea of justice everywhere he went,
in battle, in the palace, in the marketplace. People who knew him said, he is strong, but he is also fair. That combination, strength and fairness, is rare, and it is what made Saladin unforgettable. When Saladin was in his 20s, he traveled to Egypt. Egypt was a rich and ancient land, but Egypt was troubled. There were different groups fighting for power. Saladin went with his uncle to help bring order to Egypt. And slowly, step by step, Saladin rose. He became a commander, then a governor, then something even greater. Vocabulary Review, Section 3. Strategy, a careful plan to achieve a goal. Justice, fairness, treating all people correctly. Commander, a military leader, someone who
And
leads
history
soldiers.
proved him right. Vocabulary Review, Section 2. Governor, a person who rules or manages a region for a king. Righteousness, doing what is right and good, being morally correct. Thoughtful, thinking carefully before acting, considerate of others. Section 3. The young soldier, approximately 3 minutes. As Saladin grew older, he entered the world of soldiers and war. His uncle Shirkuh was a famous military commander. He taught Saladin the art of strategy. Let us learn this word. The word is strategy. S-T-R-A-T-E-G-Y. A strategy is a careful plan to achieve a goal. In war, strategy means thinking ahead, knowing where to move, when to fight, and when to wait. Saladin learned strategy quickly. He was intelligent. He was calm. He did not panic under pressure. These qualities made him an excellent soldier. But Saladin was not just a fighter. He was also deeply religious. He prayed every day. He read the Quran carefully. He believed that a true leader must have justice in his heart, not just power in his hands. Let us learn this word. The word is justice. J-U-S-T-I-C-E. Justice means fairness. It means treating every person correctly, not because they are powerful, but because it is right. Saladin carried the idea of justice everywhere he went. In battle, in the palace, in the marketplace. People who knew him said, he is strong, but he is also fair. That combination, strength and fairness, is rare, and it is what made Saladin unforgettable. When Saladin was in his 20s, he traveled to Egypt. Egypt was a rich and ancient land. But Egypt was troubled. There were different groups fighting for power. Saladin went with his uncle to help bring order to Egypt. And slowly, step by step, Saladin rose. He became a commander, then a governor, then something even greater. Vocabulary Review, Section 3. Strategy, a careful plan to achieve a goal. Justice, fairness, treating all people correctly. Commander, a military leader, someone who leads soldiers. Section 4. Saladin becomes a leader, approximately 3 minutes. By the time Saladin was in his 30s, he had become the most powerful man in Egypt. But he did not use this power for luxury. He did not build great palaces for himself. He did not fill his rooms with gold. Instead, he used his power for 3 things. 1, to protect his people. 2, to build schools and hospitals. 3, to prepare for something he believed was his Let
great
us talk
purpose.
about the world at that time. It was the era of the Crusades. The word is crusade. C-R-U-S-A-D-E. A crusade was a military campaign, a long, organized war. Christian armies from Europe had come to the Holy Land, the land of Jerusalem, Palestine, and Syria. Jerusalem is a city of enormous importance to 3 religions: Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. For Muslims, Jerusalem contains the Al-Aqsa Mosque, one of the holiest places in Islam. For Christians, Jerusalem is the city where Jesus walked and where he was crucified. For Jewish people, Jerusalem contains the Western Wall, a sacred and ancient site. In the year 1099, about 80 years before Saladin, the Crusader armies captured Jerusalem. During that capture, there was terrible violence.
Many innocent people were killed. For decades, Jerusalem remained under Crusader control. And Saladin, the young boy from Tikrit, grew up knowing this history. He believed deeply that Jerusalem must be restored, peacefully if possible. Now, as the leader of Egypt and Syria, Saladin began to prepare. He built a large, trained, disciplined army. The word is disciplined. D-I-S-C-I-P-L-I-N-E-D. Disciplined means well-trained, organized, and controlled. A disciplined army follows rules. They do not harm civilians. They do not act with cruelty. Saladin trained his army to be disciplined. He told them, "We do not fight out of hatred. We fight for justice and for what is right." Vocabulary Review, Section 4. Crusade, a military campaign, especially the Christian military campaigns to the Holy Land. Sacred, holy, something deeply important to a religion. Disciplined, well-trained, organized, and in control of behavior. Section 5. The character of Saladin, approximately 4 minutes. Before we continue the story of what Saladin did, I want to stop for a moment. I want to tell you who Saladin was as a person, because his character is just as important as his battles. Story 1. The Tent. Saladin was a king. He could have slept in a palace every night. But when he was with his army on a military campaign, he refused. He slept in a tent, the same as his soldiers. When people asked him why, he said, "How can I sleep on soft pillars when my men sleep on the ground?" This is the quality of humility. The word is humility. H-U-M-I-L-I-T-Y. Humility means not thinking you are better than others. It means being modest. Even
A humble leader does not demand special treatment. A humble leader says, "I am one of you." Saladin had great humility. Story 2. The Sick Enemy. During one of his military campaigns, Saladin heard some news. The leader of the opposing Christian army, King Richard of England, also known as Richard the Lionheart, was very sick with a fever. His enemies expected Saladin to celebrate. They expected him to say, "Good, let him suffer." But Saladin did something no one expected. He sent Richard fresh fruit and clean ice from the mountains to help him recover. He sent medicine to a man who was trying to defeat him. This act shocked the entire world. It is called chivalry. The word is chivalry. C-H-I-V-A-L-R-Y. Chivalry means honorable behavior, especially showing respect, generosity, and kindness, even to enemies. Chivalry was the highest standard of a warrior's character, and Saladin, a Muslim king, became the greatest symbol of chivalry in all of medieval history. Even European historians, who were often his opponents, wrote about his nobility with deep admiration. Story 3. The Poor Man's Request. One day, a very poor man came to Saladin's court. He had nothing. He could barely speak from hunger. He handed Saladin a piece of paper. On it, he had written a poem, asking for help. Saladin read the poem. He smiled. He turned to his treasurer and said, "Give this man everything in the treasury today." His advisors were shocked. They said, "My king, that is everything we have." Saladin said, "God gave it to us. We give it to those who need it." This is the quality of generosity. The word is generosity. G-E-N-E-R-O-S-I-T-Y. Generosity means giving freely, your time, your money, your help, without expecting something in return. Saladin was famous for his generosity. He often gave away so much that when he died, as we will hear later, he had almost nothing left. Vocabulary Review Section 5. Humility, being modest, not thinking you are better than others. Chivalry, honorable behavior, kindness and respect, even toward enemies. Generosity, giving freely without expecting anything in return.
Now we come to the great turning point of Saladin's life. The year is 1187. Saladin's army and the Crusader army meet in a famous battle. The battle takes place near a place called Hattin, near the Sea of Galilee in modern-day
This
Israel.
battle is known as the Battle of Hattin. The Crusader army was very large, but Saladin had a better plan. Remember our word strategy? Saladin used brilliant strategy at Hattin. He moved the Crusader army into a dry, waterless area. The summer heat was extreme. The soldiers were thirsty. They were exhausted. Then Saladin attacked. The Crusader army was completely defeated. The word is defeated. D-E-F-E-A-T-E-D. Defeated means beaten in a contest or a battle. The enemy has lost. You have won. After the Battle of Hattin, the Crusader army was defeated. Their leader, King Guy of Jerusalem, was captured. Now, many leaders in history would have punished a captured king harshly. They would have humiliated him. But Saladin? He offered King Guy a cold cup of water. He sat him down. He spoke to him with respect. When another captured leader took the cup and offered water to a different prisoner, Saladin said, "I did not give him permission to offer water. That prisoner is his responsibility now, not mine." This was a code of honor. A captured person who received water from the king was safe. Saladin followed this code completely. Even in victory, he showed character. Vocabulary Review, Section 6. Defeated, beaten in a battle or competition. Exhausted, extremely tired, having no energy left. Humiliated, made to feel ashamed or embarrassed in public. After the Battle of Hattin, the road to Jerusalem was open. Saladin marched his army toward the Holy City. Inside Jerusalem, there were tens of thousands of people. Many of them were civilians, ordinary men, women, and children who had nothing to do with the war. The people of Jerusalem were afraid. They remembered what happened in 1099, when the Crusader armies took Jerusalem with great violence. They expected the same. They expected fire, destruction, and punishment. But Saladin stopped his army outside the walls. He sent a message to the people inside. He said, "Surrender the city peacefully. No one will be harmed. Everyone will be treated with dignity." Let us learn this word. The word is dignity. D-I-G-N-I-T-Y. Dignity means being treated with respect, as a full human being, worthy of honor. Saladin promised dignity to every person in Jerusalem. On October 2nd, 1187, the gates of Jerusalem opened. Saladin entered the city. No fires, no killing, no revenge. He walked to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the most important Christian church Some of
in
his
Jerusalem.
soldiers said, "Shall we destroy it?" Saladin said, "No, it is their holy place. We do not destroy holy places." He posted guards at the church, not to harm the Christians, but to protect them. Christian pilgrims were allowed to continue visiting their holy sites. Jewish people, who had been banned from Jerusalem for decades, were allowed to return. The historian Karen Armstrong wrote that Saladin's conquest of Jerusalem was so different from the Crusader conquest of 1099 that it seemed like a different religion, a different civilization entirely. And she was right. There is one particular story from that day that is very moving. When Saladin entered Jerusalem, a very old Christian woman ran to him. She was crying. She said, "My lord, the soldiers took my baby daughter. She was taken from me. I have searched everywhere." Saladin stopped. He looked at her. He turned to his men and said, "Find this child now." Within hours, the child was found and returned to her mother. The old woman held her daughter and wept with relief. And Saladin watched, and he wept too. That is the man history remembers. Vocabulary Review, Section 7. Dignity, being treated with full respect as a human being. Civilian, an ordinary person, not a soldier. Conquest, the act of taking control of a place through military force. After Jerusalem was returned, the news spread across Europe. The kings of Europe were shocked. They organized a new crusade, the Third Crusade.
The leader of this new campaign was King Richard I of England. He was called Richard the Lionheart because of his bravery in battle. Richard was a brilliant warrior. He was courageous, fierce, and very skilled in military strategy. He arrived in the Holy Land with a powerful army. For 2 years, Saladin and Richard fought a long, difficult campaign. Neither side could fully defeat the other. But something remarkable happened between these two great leaders. Even though they were opponents, even enemies, they showed each other extraordinary respect. Remember the story of the fresh fruit and medicine that Saladin sent when Richard was sick? Richard never forgot that. Eventually, after 2 years of war, both sides were exhausted. They agreed to make peace. Treaty. Treaty. A treaty is a formal agreement between two sides, especially to end a war. In 1192, Saladin and Richard signed the Treaty of Jaffa. Under this agreement, Jerusalem remained under
But
Muslim
Christian
control.
pilgrims were guaranteed safe passage to visit their holy sites. The fighting would stop. When Richard prepared to leave the Holy Land, he and Saladin exchanged gifts. Richard sent Saladin a beautiful anchor horse. Saladin sent Richard fine weapons and silk cloth. Two warriors from different religions, different worlds, showing respect across the battlefield. Some historians say their relationship is one of the greatest examples of mutual respect between opposing leaders in all of history. Vocabulary Review, Section 9. Legacy. What you leave behind after your life. Your impact on the world. Mourn. To feel and show deep sadness because someone has died. Mercy. Kindness and forgiveness shown to someone, especially someone you have power over. Mercy. Kindness and forgiveness shown to someone, especially someone you have power over. Mercy. Kindness and forgiveness shown to someone, especially someone you have power over. Mercy. Kindness and forgiveness shown to someone, especially someone you have power over. Mercy. Kindness and forgiveness shown to someone, especially someone you have power over. Mercy. Kindness and forgiveness shown to someone, especially someone you have power over. Mercy. Kindness and forgiveness shown to someone, especially someone you have power over. Mercy. Kindness and forgiveness shown to someone, especially someone you have power over. Mercy. Kindness and forgiveness shown to someone, especially someone you have power over. After the peace treaty, Saladin returned to Damascus, his capital city in Syria. He was tired. He was sick. He had given everything to his people, his faith, and his purpose. And now, the great warrior needed to rest. In February of 1193, Saladin fell seriously ill with a fever. He grew weaker each day. When the doctors came to him, they found something that made them very sad. The Sultan, the man who had ruled Egypt, Syria, and the Holy Land, the man who had defeated great armies and returned Jerusalem, had almost nothing. No gold, no treasure, no savings. He had given it all away, to his soldiers, to the poor, to schools, to hospitals, to travelers who needed help. When he died, he did not have enough money to pay for his own funeral. His friends had to collect donations to bury him. The word is legacy. Legacy. A legacy is what you leave behind after your life. It is your impact on the world. It is the mark you leave on history. Saladin left behind no gold. He left behind no palace. But he left behind a legacy that the world still talks about. 800 years Saladin
later.
was a Muslim leader, but the people who praised him most throughout history were often not Muslim. The Christian knights who fought against him wrote about his honor and his nobility. European historians and writers, people who should have been his opponents in their writing, praised his character. The writer Dante Alighieri, the great Italian poet, placed Saladin among the noble souls in his poem, The Divine Comedy. That is an extraordinary thing. Saladin was placed by a Christian European poet alongside the greatest virtuous souls in history. The word is noble. Noble.
Noble means having high moral qualities: honesty, courage, generosity, justice, and honor. Saladin was noble, not because of his title, but because of his character. Historians compare him to the greatest leaders in human history. What made him different? It was not just his military victories, it was how he won and what he did after winning. He won with strategy. He acted with mercy. He ruled with justice. He lived with humility. He left with generosity. Every step of his life was guided by the same question: what is the right thing to do? And that, more than any battle, is what made Saladin immortal. The word is immortal. I-M-M-O-R-T-A-L. Immortal means living forever, not in the body, but in memory, in history, in the hearts of people. Saladin's body is gone, but his story is immortal. So, my dear friend, what can we learn from Saladin's story today? Lesson 1. True strength is not just power. It is power with character. Lesson 2. The way you treat your enemies tells the world more about you than the way you treat your friends. Lesson 3. Generosity does not make you poor. It makes you remembered forever. Lesson 4. Humility is not weakness. A humble leader is loved more than a proud one. Lesson 5. One person with the right values can change what the world thinks is possible. Saladin was a man of faith, courage, and extraordinary humanity. And his story, 800 years later, still teaches us how to live. You have done something amazing today. You listened to a 25-minute story, entirely in English, and you learned 15 new English words. Let us review them all together, one final time. Governor, a person who rules or manages a region for a king. Righteousness, doing what is right and good. Thoughtful, thinking carefully, considerate of others. Strategy, a careful plan to achieve a goal. Justice, fairness.
Disciplined, well-trained and organized. Humility, being modest, not thinking you are better than others. Chivalry, honorable behavior, especially toward enemies. Generosity, giving freely without expecting a return. Defeated, beaten in a battle or competition. Dignity, being treated with full respect. Treaty, a formal agreement to end a war. Legacy, what you leave behind after your life. Noble, having high moral qualities. Immortal, living forever in memory and history. 15 words, one story, and a man who deserved to be remembered. Now I have a question for you. Please write your answer in the comments below. Here is the question. Which moment in Saladin's story moved you the most? Was it when he sent medicine to his sick enemy, King Richard? Was it when he returned Jerusalem without violence? Or was it when he died and had nothing left because he had given everything away? Write your answer in English. Even one sentence is perfect. Every time you write in English, you are growing. Every sentence makes you stronger. If you enjoyed today's story, please click the like button. It really helps our channel reach more people. And if you want to learn English every week through beautiful, powerful stories like this one, please subscribe now and turn on the bell notification so you never miss a story. We post new English stories every single week, completely free. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for learning with me. This is Learn English by Stories, and I will see you in the next story. Goodbye.